Okay, so the next lesson is about symbols. So we talked about symbols in class. We talked about how would you, with Matlab, solve an equation like this. Let's say x power of 2, 5x is equal to 0. If you want to solve it in Matlab, you have to somehow tell Matlab what x is here is, because Matlab would understand what is 2, what is power, what is plus, what is 5, what is equal, what is 0. But when you put variables here like y, like z, you have to tell Matlab that these are symbols. So for that, you just type sims y and then easily type solve this equation that you want to solve. And by default, Matlab will put that equal to zeros. 5 times y. So your answer is minus 5 and 0. If you put 0 in place of y, you get a 0 answer. If you put minus 5, power of 2 is 25. Minus 5 times 5 is 25. 25 minus 25 is 0. So it has been solved. If you come here and look at your y, you see that it says 1 by 1 symbol. So although you have minus 5 and 0 as answers, but they are symbols. If you want to use them in another equation, you have to type double. If you want to get minus 5 with double precision, you say double minus 5. And now this is an answer. So your answer is minus 5, and that's an integer value. You can use it in other equations. You can't use what you had here before. Minus 5 and 0, they are just symbols. This is one way of doing that. Another way is you just type, let's say I want to solve this equation. You can do it in 2 lines, or you can say E is sim and put the equation there. That would do the same thing. And then solve E. So these 2 lines is the same as that. So you can put Control C, Control V. I run it in command window. It will give you the same thing, minus 1, 0, minus 5, 0. Let's say I want to plot this equation, y power of 2 plus 5y. So the most straightforward command is easy plot. So if you want to plot symbols, you type easy plot, and then the equation. And it will plot it for you. So whenever you have x, y, z, any variable here, and you want to plot it, you use one of the ways to do it is using easy plot. Now let's say let's say my equation is more complicated. I have y power of 4 plus 5 times y power of 3 plus y equal to 0. Let's say I want to solve this. So I know that I have to tell Matlab that y is a symbol and then solve it for me. Solve that. Oh, okay. Times. So as you see, the answers are, again, symbols. So Matlab tells me take the root. Your answer is root of z power of 3, which is the same as y, plus 5 times variable power of 2 plus 1, when my variable is z, root of this. So if I want to get the answer, so these are again symbols. You type double root of that. Okay, so understands z but understands y, because I defined y as a symbol. So as you see, I get 3 different answers for this equation. Now you can either do that or you can use roots. So the way to do that is you define so for this equation, because it's power of 4, you have 4 answers: 0, root of that, root of that, root of that. There is another way to, and we saw that root of that, if I want to solve it, I get 3 different answers. So this one, the imaginary part, it's multiplied to 0, so there is no imaginary part. It's almost minus 5. The first answer, so it's 0. The second answer, so as you saw here, the first answer is 0. The second answer is root of that, so you get 3 answers. It's minus 5, because the imaginary part, the coefficient is 0, so that's 0, almost minus 5. And these are approximately 0, because this part is almost 0, and the imaginary part has a coefficient, but the real part is almost 0. So the precision is high. Another way of solving this, because you have y power of 4 plus 5 times y power of 3, and the coefficient of y power of 2 is 0, and then you have the coefficient of y is 1. So another way of doing this, because you have a polynomial, you can say a is the coefficient of all the terms. So for y power of 4 is 1, for y power of 3 is 5, y power of 2, I don't have it, so I put 0, y is 1, and then the constant term is 0. So that's my a. And then if you type roots of that equation, Matlab automatically knows that I have to put this in a these are coefficients of an equation, that this is the constant, this is y power of 1, y power of 2, y power of 3, y power of 4. So if you type roots a, it will give me 4 answers. As you see, this is exactly the same answers you got. So you have 0, minus 5, that, and that, as you got with Sims. So there is another way of solving it. Now, this is 0, right? Because 0 plus 0 times I is 0. So you got exactly the same answer. We tried 2 different methods. The next thing we talked about was how to solve 2 equations with 2 unknowns. For example, let's say I want to solve these 2 equations. 5x plus 7y equal to 9, and I want to solve 6tx plus 8y equal to 7. So I have 2 equations, 2 unknowns. One way of solving it, again, you can look at it and say I have 2 symbols, Sims, x, y, and I want to solve that equation 5 times x plus 7 times y equal to 9, and I want to solve 60 times x plus 8 times y equal to 7. I want to solve these two equations. As you see, the answer is in terms of, it says it's a structure with fields x, y, and y by one symbol, y by one symbol. So when you solve it with symbol, it will give you symbols back. But one way to get the answer out is double x Okay, so if I put this in answer equal to that, and it's a structure, right? So answer dot x, run section. Now it worked. So because my answer is in form of a structure, because you saw that it gives me a structure as an answer, and you know that the way to get the answer out of a structure is dot. So answer dot x will give me the first answer, and dot y will give me the second answer. This is one way of getting the answer out. Or you can put this equal to x, y, then you get, so you're getting it in terms of the fraction. So if you don't want it in fraction form, you type double and then this fraction you got here. And then you can have it with in this form, basically. What was the other answer we got with the... And this one, 101 over 60 over 76. You just type double, Control V, and you get the second answer. Or you can leave it in, and that's equal to answer Y. So that's the same thing, 1.32 and 1.32. So if you do it like this, you get the results in fraction form, which is fine. If you want to get it in same format, you just type double. Or you just put the fraction. And it gives you the answer, right? You just do it with Matlab. Type 101 over 76, it should give you an answer. So far we talked about how to solve a single equation and two. So if you have three equations, then you just put comma and put another equation here. Now, another way of solving this, you can either use Sims or you can you can solve it with matrix. So you have seen that you can, as we talked about in class, you have two equations, two unknown. This is one way. The other way is just creating a matrix. So my matrix A is I have these two equations. I make a matrix with all the variables. So it's 5 and 7 coefficients, all the coefficients of the variable. And I have 60 and 8. 68. So that's my A, 5, 67, 8. And B is equal to 9, 7. So 9, 7. And transpose of that. So that's my B, 9, 7. Now the final answer for X and Y is A backslash B. So as you see, it gives you the answer. So there's another way of solving two equations to unknowns.